Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Nan, Jilly, and my husband John. And this is our series about how to cope, thrive, not just survive, but thrive through the coronavirus challenge. So today we're going to talk about how you can give and receive deep, active listening sessions so that you can get beyond your distress, because we always have distress in life. Life comes with distress and maybe a little bit more of a side order or main course of that now. So what we can do is take this opportunity to learn how to listen very deeply, one person at a time, so that we can have a tool to go beyond the distress and the stress into being more resourceful and actually more effective when we're resourceful. So I wrote a book called Why Good Sex Matters, Understanding the Neuroscience of Pleasure for a Smarter, Happier, and More Purpose-Filled Life. And I would add to that subtitle, a less anxious life. So my husband, John, and I've been together since 1974, dating, and married since 1981. And we learned this tool quite a while ago. John, retired lawyer, but was always interested in psychology. And we learned this tool, and I think it's been the key to our not killing each other. And not only that, actually liking each other even more now than ever. So we've used this tool throughout our marriage. It's influenced us in terms of how we can work together to really deal with what we're feeling and then get more creative. I have a history of long-term anxiety sufferer. John has struggled with depression. So we're teaching what we needed to know, and it works pretty good most of the time. So here are the instructions. First and foremost, you need to understand that the session means that you're taking a session by agreement, right? So I would say to John, do you have space to hear me? And he would say either yes or no. Mm-hmm. If he said no, I'd say, can we arrange it for another time? So you have to arrange to have a session, and both people have to agree. If you don't have a person to session with, you can actually write down some of what you're feeling. That will be another video. So what I would do is I would say, for example, if John's going to take a session today, he would ask me, do I have space to give him a session? And when you do a session, it's very privileged space. So in other words, what goes on in the session, it's like Vegas. It stays in the session. My favorite background story about this that I tell my clients is at one point years ago, John came home and he didn't look so great. And I said to him, did you want to take a session? And he said, yes. So one of the things that he shared with me was that he couldn't stand coming home to me. And because it was in a session, I could really hold the space for him and listen so deeply that he was able to let me know what wasn't working about me, but also in a bigger picture, what was going on. And I was able to stay so present and so attentive to him. I think in that moment, I learned really how to listen and how to be really good partners. So if that happened outside of a session, it would not have gone so well. So the way it goes is only one person can go at a time. So the person who is taking the session is the person who's going to be speaking. And then there is the deep active listener, the one who's going to hear. And not just hear, but give the person back, give the speaker back exactly what you heard them say, just as if everything that came out of your partner's mouth were jewels that you want to hold and return to them. So there's a very specific format for it that makes it safe and also makes it easier to stay in the session. So you start by asking, can you take a session? Yes. And the partner, the person who's speaking, gets to talk about anything that's on their mind, as long as it's framed in something that's not a you are a jerk. Okay, that doesn't work. So it's I statements, and it's I am, whatever I'm feeling, thinking. And then the person who's listening will keep those sound bites short enough so that they can stop the person and say, what I hear you saying is, and then exactly what they've heard them say, not interpreting, not going beyond what the person has said. It's really key to really stay with what you heard the person say and not interpret, because interpretation is where a lot of problems come up. And often when we're listening to partners, we're listening to make a point, we're listening to be right, we're listening to convince, even if we don't mean to. There's an agenda that we bring to most conversations. So this is not a conversation. This is a very specialized form of communication. So the partner will speak, then you say, what I hear you saying is, and you repeat it. You can actually say what they said, or you can put it into your own words. And then you ask the speaker, is that correct? And if it isn't, if you've missed something or you've misrepresented something, that's the opportunity for the speaker to correct you or to add whatever it is that you missed. And then you ask as the listener, is there more, after you repeat what the person has corrected. And you just, usually it works best if you set a time limit, maybe like a 10-minute session, because you can, really takes a lot of concentration to really hear what people are saying and give it back to them. And it interrupts our kind of mind often. Was there anything you wanted to add to this, John?
No, you're doing great.
I'm doing great, yay. All right, so here's the point. If we can listen and really be heard, not only are we going to hear our partners better, but we're going to hear ourselves better, and we'll be able to be more attuned to ourselves. Our partners who are going to listen, like that day I listened when he wasn't happy coming home to me. I heard him very, very deeply. Do you remember that time, honey?
I do.
Yeah. How was that for you?
Very satisfying that you were able to hear all that.
Yeah. And it really makes for long-term, not only stress relief, but potential. And you can do this with your partners, you can do this with your colleagues, being your kids, being able to tolerate other people's feelings and our feelings. It's not about fixing anybody, it's listening deeply so they can feel their feelings. And when feelings can be felt, they can peak and they can release. And then we can be more relaxed, resourceful, resilient, creative, and more effective. So let's give one a test drive today. So I'm going to be the listener and John is going to be the speaker. So we would say, you would ask me for a session and I would say I have the space for it. So I have the space for it. Did you want to take a session?
I do.
Okay. So he can start with whatever's on his mind, whatever's on his body, whatever his emotional weather is. And that's a kind of good tool if you don't know what to talk about. What's on my mind? What's in my body? What's my emotional weather? Okay. Deep breath. Can you get started?
Sure. What's on my mind is I'm very frustrated with this Excel course I'm taking. And my frustration leads me to think that I can't do it. And I get disgusted, I get frustrated, I get down.
So what I hear you saying is that you're feeling a lot of frustration about the Excel course that you're taking online, and that you are feeling, as a result of the frustration, a concern that you can't do it. Is that correct?
Yeah, that I can't do it, and then I have a lot of judgment around myself for not being able to do it.
So what I hear,
or not being able to do it as quickly as I think I should.
So what I hear you saying is that you have a lot of judgment around your not being able to do it as quickly as you think that you should be able to do it.
That's
Is that
exactly
correct?
right.
Is there more?
Well, first of all, it feels good to hear you listening to me and really getting the words that I'm saying.
So what I hear you saying is that it does feel good to be listened to hear me listen to you and getting the words that you're saying.
Yes, it does.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Is there more?
Yeah. I'm concerned that I'm not using my time as efficiently as I could during the coronavirus shutdown.
So what I hear you saying is that you're concerned that you aren't making as good a use of your time during this current coronavirus challenge as you might.
Yeah.
Is there more? Is that correct, Jess? Is there more?
Yes.
Yes. So I hear what you're saying is there is more.
There is more. I'm very concerned about being able to get food without having to go to the supermarket. The deliveries and the pickups are becoming harder and harder to schedule.
So what I hear you saying is that you're worried that it's going to be harder and harder to get food delivered as a result of, rather than have to go shopping during the coronavirus, it's getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
Is that correct, to get the deliveries and food appointments?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yes, it is.
Is there more?
I'm concerned about my dad, who's 89, and that he's not taking any unnecessary risks.
So what I hear you saying is you're concerned about your dad and that he not take any unnecessary risks.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Because he is 89.
Because he is,
said.
yeah.
Is there more?
What I'm noticing is that I'm frustrated and I'm scared.
So what I hear you saying is that you're noticing that you're feeling frustrated and scared.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is there more?
Yes. I'm noticing that I feel impatient with you.
So what I hear you saying is that you're noticing that you're feeling impatient with me?
Yeah.
Is there more?
No, I think that's everything.
So what I hear you saying is that you think that's everything. Is that correct?
Yeah, that feels like everything. I feel lighter. I feel less constricted in my body.
So what I hear you saying is that you're noticing that you're feeling lighter and less constricted in your body.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is there more?
I really appreciate you for being able to do this.
So what I hear you saying is that you really appreciate me for being able to do this.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's kind of what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. And this is, one of the things I've been teaching couples over the years and people, how to give and take these active, deep listening sessions. And this tool has helped me tremendously, not only in my work, but with my teenagers when they were growing up, with my colleagues with who I've had some, when you do a PhD with somebody in my lab, my advisor, he was quite a challenge for me. And I learned a lot by being able to speak my truth with him. And, the cool thing is you can do this without making anybody wrong. You can have your feelings. And it doesn't mean that you're making anything, making anybody wrong. It doesn't even mean that they're doing anything wrong. Your feelings are important. And when you get them off the top, then you can feel lighter in your body. That's where the core emotions reside in our bodies. And it really works pretty good most of the time.
I agree.
Yeah. So just as a reminder, I'm going to do more work around this with videos. I'm going to put out some instructions. It's in my book, The Active Listening Exercises we all need to be able to discharge distress. How do you know you're in distress? Well, if you're feeling tense, if you're kind of just, all anxious, if you are depressed, that is in distress. So I actually woke up this morning feeling kind of like, oh no, it's another Groundhog Day and I have so much work to do. We actually went for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking during the walk. That's the walk and talk. And the sunshine getting into your eyes, really important because it gets light to your hypothalamus, which is important for mood regulation, for digestion, for wake sleep, for your being. So if you can get out twice a day in the sun and do a little walking, and if you can give and trade sessions to people you care about, we'll get through this. And not only will we survive, we'll learn tools that will create more connection and more, basically what's really important is our relationships with each other. So have a wonderful day. Anything you want to say, honey?
No, this has been great.
Okay. He likes it. Well, it's worked good for us.
It has.
Bye, everybody. See you
Bye-bye.
next time.